So have you ever heard of an anime called Vividred Operation? You know, that one anime about cute girls fighting giant mechas that look a bit too similar to the angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion. That one anime where they fight with the power of friendship. The one with the talking weasel. No, how about the fact that this show is mostly remembered by the few who actually watched it for the amount of asses that are shoved in our faces? I am talking about Vividred Operation, and considering the title for this video, I did not enjoy it at all. And since you guys went wild with the last lolly that should have the creators arrested anime I covered, I decided why not just do another one of these things. But before we start the show, if you like my content or this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as I want to hit at least 500 subscribers before the end of the year, and it would be very appreciated if you do. And if I get, like, I don't know, 1,000 likes, I'll probably cover other shows that tried to rip off Puella Magi Madoka Magica. There will be mild spoilers if you care. And now with that out of the way, let's get to the synopsis. So for the plot, it starts in the near future with an invention known as the manifestation engine, which solved all of the world's energy-related problems 5 years ago. This powerful machine creates energy from the sky and now lies in the center of an artificial man-made island called Blue Island. On another island named Izushima, a poor but happy girl named Akane Ishii lives a peaceful life with her family. Her grandfather Kenjiro is a smart yet eccentric scientist who is also the inventor of the manifestation engine. Because of his invention, the world has entered a new era of peace. However, this peace didn't last long. Suddenly, without warning, an militaristic alien force from another dimension known as the Alone, stupid name, attacks and invades Earth. Their prime objective is to destroy the manifestation engine so that they can send the world into chaos. Despite the human military forces hitting them with all they've got, they prove to be no match for the Alone's immense power. Just when all hope seems lost, Kenjiro gives Akane a special key which allows her to access the Vivid system, the only thing that can defeat the Alone. Now wearing a pellet suit, a special warfare armor, and possessing abilities unlike anything she ever imagined, Akane fights to protect the world from the Alone. She also recruits her classmates of Futabo Wokubu and Himwari Shinomiya to join her in the fight. However, a mysterious girl is secretly planning behind the scenes to sabotage their efforts to defeat the Alone. The show was produced by One Pictures and directed by Kazuya Takamura. The series aired in Japan between January and March 2013 and is licensed in North America by Aniplex of America. 2 manga adaptations were published by Acid Media Works, and PlayStation 3 video game adaptation by Bandai Namco Games was released in June 2013. Yes, there was a manga and a video game adaptation of this. We'll get to the manga and video game later, but for now let us get to the characters or lack thereof. Who are they? I will try to give 2 answers. One in a somewhat professional, objective manner and one in truth. Akane Ishii is a second-year, junior high school student who lives together with her little sister and grandfather on Izuashima. She works many part-time jobs to support her family in place of her mother and rides the world's only flying bike made by her grandfather. She is bright, energetic, honest, carefree, and very athletic. She also has an odd habit of putting mayonnaise on anything she eats. She is given the power to transform using the Vivid system, where she is adorned in red. Her main weapon is a boomerang called the Nate Rang. She also has the ability to dock with other Vivid users to become more powerful forms, activated by each girl kissing her on the forehead. She previously had a fear of heights following a factory explosion that killed her father and hospitalized her mother. but she overcomes this fear in order to save Ellie, her childhood friend. Futoba is Penny's classmate and best friend. She comes to Oshima from Blue Island for medical treatment. She is the daughter of a wealthy family, and her parents are often too busy to visit Oshima. She gains access to the Vivid system around the same time as Akane, her color being blue. Her main weapon is a rocket-powered hammer known as the Naked Impact. When docked with Akane, they combine into vivid blue, possessing a powerful hammer several times the size of Yuya's. Wakoba Seguzer is a determined sword fighter and captain of New Oshimi Academy's female kendo club who uses the natural harmony style as her fighting style. She is also a classmate of Akane's and the president of her class. She is competitive and hates to lose, but she also loves cute things, most often shown by her doting on Momo and Himwari. She is a bit awkward because of her earnestness and often draws the short straw. She gains access to the Vivid system after resolving to fight alongside Akane, her color being green. Her main weapon is a sword known as the Naked Blade. When docked with Akane, they combine into vivid green, which increases the size of Wakabi's blade. Himawari Shinomiya is a brilliant hacker and one of Akane's classmates. Following an incident where she was betrayed by a friend, she withdrew to her room and stopped coming to school, instead using a robotic camera to view classes. However, she soon returns to school after Akane helps her save a power plant, during which she gains access to the Vivid system. Her color is yellow. She has a case of anthropophobia and pays little attention to fashion or her appearance. She prefers machines and enjoys factory landscapes and admires Kendero's work. Her main weapon is a set of remote-controlled drones known as the Naked Collider, which can create reflective shields and perform other functions. When docked with Akane, they become vivid yellow, making the drones more advanced. Rii Kuroki is a quiet girl in Akane's class who often keeps to herself. She likes animals and owns a parakeet named Paisive. She comes from another world that was allegedly obliterated along with her parents. She is approached by a mysterious black crow who promises that she can restore her world if she helps the Alone destroy the manifestation in June. She possesses a black winged bow used to fire glowing arrows into the Alone, giving them more powerful forms. She also bears a feather mark on her neck that indicates how many arrows she can fire. When she uses the last one, she will supposedly disappear. She also carries a key she considers very important. After Akane saves Ri from the crow's control, she docks with her to become vivid red. That was the professional description. Now for the actual description. We've got the happy-go-lucky Dumbus, the polite rich girl, the serious tomboy who's into cute things, the withdrawn super smart one with big boobs and discount Homura. I cannot stress enough how much I did not give a shit about any of these characters. They are flatter than a sheet of paper. Actually, maybe even worse, because at least a sheet of paper can have stories written on it. These characters are literally nothing beyond the tropes they are derived from. There truly isn't any group dynamic between them, besides generic anime friendship. There is only a single episode dedicated to fleshing out any of the relationships, and weirdly it happens in episode 9 of a 12-episode series. There are side characters like Akane's grandpa, her little sister, and 2 military officers, but they don't matter. They're just there to fill in parts of the plot. Oh, the fusion the girls do is kind of cool. It starts with one of them giving forehead kisses, and they do super cool attacks. The designs for the fusion forms are really cool. In fact, all of the designs in the show, aside from those school uniforms, are really good. The magical girl forms have a very distinct mechanized style to them. The glowing blue highlights the somewhat military inspiration mixed with a pilot aesthetic as all super cool. What I find even cooler is how all the girls' weapons have the name Ecchi on them, since that is the person who designed them. These costumes and objects were manufactured, so of course they would have the logo of who manufactured them. I was going to review the episodes like I usually do, But I was so bored with this whole show to the point that I didn't even bother to. So let's get to the animation. For the animation, the studio that made this, I-1 Pictures, has undoubtedly put a lot of effort into making this series look good. The animation is fluid and crisp, and the art style itself has that fresh look to it, especially when it comes to the fight scenes. For the few we get to see, there are a lot of small details in the animation that really show in the fan service sequences. Whether it be a jiggle or a shake, the animation of all body parts is captured in great detail. Unfortunately, the effort and time put in here was for something that comes off as very shallow and half-hearted. The character designs are fairly unique and well thought out. However, unfortunately, we mostly only get to see them from one certain angle, that being from behind. It is disappointing because these characters have a distinct look and style to them, but they are essentially an afterthought to their own behinds. I never thought I'd have to write those words, but there you go. First, they never explain what the higher beings are and why they are doing this test for humanity. Why did the crow change its mind in the second to last episode despite being shown throughout the entirety of the show to be a neutral observer? Why did they build the manifestation engine in a country that is known for having a fucking fault lines? Literally, if that shit ever gets to a magnitude of 6.5 or higher, then the whole world is in a blackout. How did Ishidi get back to his normal body? Like in episode 5, they left Kai's body in the basement for God knows how long. How did his body not decompose? And most importantly, how did Ri get her world back? Why did her world look like the sky? And why were the higher beings testing humanity's? As you can see, these answers are never explained in the show because they were too busy shoving the characters' butts in our faces. Now for the positives. This will be short, so let us make it quick. Absolutely amazing fights, outstanding transformations and battle spowers, some fantastic costume design, top-shelf music, perfect character design, and I think that is it. Onto the negatives: pointless fan service, characters that are as flat as a cardboard box, side characters that have little to no purpose outside of filling in the plot or completing a specific trope, the fact that certain things are never explained as stated above, and the fact that one of our main antagonists is kind of similar to another black-haired protagonist that has guns and fights with our main heroines, at first being the lone wolf who doesn't need friends, even though we know that she's definitely going to be friends with them by the end. To give some credit to the show, it does give her some differences to make her stand out at least a little bit. Even if you don't care about the writing and only want to see something flashy and cool, despite having 12 episodes and running for about 24 minutes each, it has an absolute slog to get through. I can guarantee that you'll be wishing to kill yourself by the end of the show, and the less said about the amount of times they say or use the power of friendship, the better. This is coming from a Precure fan, and I am used to seeing them use the power of friendship, but the key difference is that, unlike this show, Precure will only say or use the power of friendship for special occasions, while this show uses it so much to the point that it gets grating. Also, if you're going to watch this show for whatever God-given reason, either make Wade count or take a drink every time a character's butt is shoved into our faces, because let me tell you, it is a lot. As I stated earlier, this anime managed to receive not one but two manga adaptations and a video game. Now for the first manga, titled Vivid Red Operation, with artwork created by Kitu Kumites whatever. It is about on par with the anime, but we did get a little bit of insight into Wakabe's home life. At first, I was ready to sing this manga's praises, saying how it has better than the anime itself and give it a full recommendation, until we're hit with the usual uncensored fan service. Then it just goes downhill from there, and it ends on episode 4 from the anime where the girls were about to fight another alone. As for the second manga, I could find a translation for it, but from the plot synopsis it looks like it would have been a 4-panel gag comedy about the girls' slice of life adventures. And as for the game, it's dogshit, at least from what I heard, because there is no way in hell you're making me pay for this game. To put it short, critics and fans alike complained that it was a mediocre game that was heavily criticized for being repetitive, shallow, and featuring broken combat mechanics. Despite praise for its high-quality anime-style visuals at the time and great voice acting, it is viewed as a shallow cash-in with poor, restrictive gameplay. So we got a mediocre anime with unnecessary fan service, and it got a game that was also mediocre and has unnecessary fan service. Whoa. What a fucking achievement, ing. Conclusion: Vivid Operation is a very disappointing anime in terms of story and characterization. Its overuse of fan service kills any potential substance the series could have and results in what is my truly tiresome viewing experience. This is not an easy show to watch by any means. In fact, it proves difficult to sit through considering the dull plot and cardboard characters. The worst of all, though, is the over-the-top fan service that goes so far that it becomes the butt of its own joke, and it probably would have been if not for the fact that this anime is so completely forgettable. Now I know that some of you might be tempted to watch this, but please don't. It is boring as sin, and even if you're a fan of this type of content, this anime is not even bombastically shameless enough to go all out. All in all, it has a boring anime with shameless fan service, characters that are either as flat as a sheet of paper or are just straight up annoying, and a somewhat interesting premise that is undermined by the constant use of tropes and archetypes. If I were to rate this anime, I would give it a 4 out of 10. And that is it for this review. I'm sorry if this was a mess. I was really trying not to repeat myself for this video because there are only so many things you can say about this anime before it gets tiring. So here, that is it. Did you like this anime, or did you find it as boring as I did, or did you think it was the worst thing that has happened to the anime community? Please tell me so in the comments and have a good day.